Non-Americans who have been to the US. What is the weirdest thing about America that Americans don't realize is weird? How easy it is as an outsider to make friends. You guys are nice as hell. I moved here back at the start of the year. I've got my small group of friends back in NZ and thought I'd have trouble making new ones, but Americans have been some of the friendliest people I've met. I went there for university and honestly Americans just do a lot of little things that are generally nice. Holding the door open, smiling if you make eye contact while walking, randomly saying a quick greeting, etc. Random compliments too, and I never got the vibe that people were just making them up like some of my friends who haven't been. Say, if someone complimented someone's clothes, hair, whatever, it seemed like they meant it, they just didn't seem to hold back the random thoughts and said them out loud. I didn't even really notice the door holding thing after the first few days, but when I went back to my country I actually missed it, lol. Not that I ever expected someone to hold the door even in America, but the absence of it in damp, quick smiles was surprisingly noticeable back home. American here, but something I didn't realize was weird until I traveled out of the country. Some of our coins don't have the denomination value on them. For instance, our 10-cent piece just says 1 dime. How TF are tourists supposed to know how much a dime is worth? Oh well, it's the smallest so it must be worth the least, right? Wrong. I love our country, lol. As a Brit, how amazingly and genuinely friendly you are. How enamored you are with British culture and people. I was invited to a BBQ in a public place by someone that I met because he liked the t-shirt I was wearing. I felt like some sort of celebrity. I'm an average guy, but everyone wanted to chat to me. I've traveled extensively and have met many other nationalities whilst in their country. I've been made to feel welcome in almost all, but how I was treated once my accent was heard in the US was on another level. Thank you for making me feel so welcome. I've had several amazing trips to US. They hold a very special place in my heart. Y'all can strike a conversation with a tree. You literally don't need anyone to respond and you'll yabber away relentlessly. It's a generalization, as I know there are some quiet Americans, but I was just down in a Publix trying to decide what beer to buy and some woman suddenly talking to me about how she met her husband. I love it. I'm a fairly quiet dude. New Zealand's a fairly reserved place, so just being able to stream your consciousness out like that is just something truly remarkable. I married an American. She talks enough for both of us. I lived in California for 3 years. I made more friends there in that time than I did living in my home country for over 3 decades. This is kind of ironic because a lot of people that move to Los Angeles, SoCal seem to struggle with making friends. When I moved to NorCal I made friends the first day. When I moved to SoCal it took me about a year before I had any real friends. By the time I left SoCal my friends were plentiful and they were family. I'm from the UK and now live in MN. The first thing is how friendly everyone seems to be. It may be the Minnesotan ice talking, but seriously, everyone is welcoming and friendly. The first time I flew to the States, I sat next to this American lady and we got talking. I explained I was visiting my partner for the first time and how nervous and excited I was. We talked until we boarded, and then once we landed, she went into mother mode, let me use her phone to call my partner, went through security and baggage claim with me, even walked me out to where my partner was waiting for me, just to make sure I was safe. She then gave me all her details and emphasized that if anything happens, or if I needed any help, I could call her and she'd help me. I found out she worked for Street Jude's, and even though I never needed to call her, knowing I had someone there made me feel so safe, and I really hope she's doing well today. This is so wholesome. I work in a restaurant and the other day I was telling my table regulars that I was in a fight with my BF. Minor if that was resolved that day. She offered to let me stay with her if I needed it. This is a woman I've only met a few times and she jumped into mom mode and was ready to have a stranger on her couch. Even in NJ, where we have a reputation for being assholes, not undeserved, there are good people. The work culture is crazy. I worked there and some people just don't take time off. They are basically on call all the time, evenings, weekends, whatever. Radically different laws for each state. Like you could be illegal in one, then travel a few miles, then boom you're safe. Weed is weird like that. It's legal in mine but not next door. But we are a border city. People cross back and forth every day. 2 of my best friends live over the border. People live in one and work in another. I can smoke a joint on my balcony but 10 minutes away that would get me arrested. The gaps in toilet stalls. Hell, I'm American and this is also very weird to me. Although the richer the bathroom the more privacy you get. There are some places I've been to where I would say it's bottom of the upper class and their bathrooms are nice AF. Complete doors on the toilets, actual towels for your hands. It's a whole diff world. I've also traveled overseas and love the fact that there is privacy there. Although I don't get the separate hot and cold spigots in the sinks. Looking at you UK. You guys do love your big cars, P. It's the manufacturers taking advantage of the way the law is written. If the vehicle is larger, it doesn't have to be as efficient, so everything has been slowly getting more and more bloated. It's also because people feel safer in a bigger vehicle. Add more large vehicles on the road, people feel less safe, especially in low small cars, so they buy a larger taller vehicle so they can see. Leading to more larger vehicles on the road, so the cycle continues. When the workers at food places take your card and walk away when you're playing, it's so weird and I hate it every time it happens, lol. US law states that you cannot be held responsible, in any capacity, for any fraudulent charges on a credit card. Debit cards are a slightly different story. So people aren't quite as paranoid when it comes to their credit cards here. Yeah, I made a large purchase in Canada and they were shocked I could tap to pay because they have to insert and use a PIN for large purchases for security. They warned me that my card is really insecure, but I'm not worried in the slightest. If I lose my card I just dispute the charge and it goes away. The pharmaceutical ads. They're ducking insane. You're watching football and suddenly there's a voiceover warning about erections lasting more than 4 hours or suicidal ideation. Set to pictures of smiling people on sailboats. WTF? A foreigner once told me that he couldn't believe how much stuff Americans owned. He had said that when he came over here to the US, he was shocked to find out about storage units. He said he never knew anyone to have so much stuff that they had to pay to store it at another place, and it was so crazy to him. I hadn't ever thought of it that way before. I can't remember what country he was from. I had a storage facility for a while and it was filled with event type items. For example, holiday decorations, camping supplies, long distance traveling luggage and car racks, hunting gear, etc. Stuff that was expensive to replace but wasn't used enough out of the year to have it clutter the house. Now I just have a few sheds I keep it all in. Didn't realize, at least in Nick, that they still use swipe and sign for credit cards. Server took our card, and we followed him to the service station because in Canada they either bring the machine to you or you pay at the desk. This was 2017 and we hadn't had to sign for a bill in about a decade. Everybody in the Bubba Gump thought we were the weird ones. Okay, major I Heart USA rant incoming. They say the US isn't safe, there's racism and gun violence and fentanyl needles lying around, and while that is all somewhat true, it's only applicable to some locations. People are really nice and helpful. The surroundings are very clean. I can walk around the streets at 4 AM without bothering to glance over my shoulder after every 2 steps. I've been here 9 years, lived in 6 very different states, and visited 40, and this country has helped heal my soul. The US is often portrayed to be overcrowded, busy, and disorganized. Especially NY, LA, and Chicago. But even in those cities, the crowd is very disciplined and structured. People respect queues, even the road traffic is very disciplined about staying in one lane. Media often portrays Americans as hypersexual, lazy slackers who only eat greasy junk food, but most of the people here have a strong value system and are constantly working towards self-improvement and their professional commitments. The job market in America is set to be ducked up post-COVID. That's true to some extent all over the world. But, in my experience, America has a job for all, whether they are high school dropouts or triple graduates. All they need to have is the willpower to work and a thirst for the mighty dollar. It is not as competitive as Asian countries. Most establishments actually respect their employees and treat them as human beings. It has a pretty decent work culture, compared to my home country, where your life is nothing besides work, commute, and sleep. Advert breaks interrupting shows a lot more often than the UK. Then recaps and rehash clips throughout the program about things that happened 15 minutes ago. It felt like I had ADHD when I caught Oak Island on holiday this week in Oak Island. Look at the shiny car for sale. Could this be treasure? Buy these burgers? Could the thing we just found be treasure? Warning: taking this drug will make you grow another head. It's wood. Here's a lizard selling insurance. Yeah, it's wood again. Actually, we are really glad it's wood because Super Bowl something. Hopefully tourists appreciate our public restrooms. WTF is wrong with Europe? You all brag about your free healthcare, but can't provide a free bathroom for your people? 100% going to Romania and Germany and being turned away at a bathroom because I didn't have to lay your euro was wild. Ended up having to play the dumb American card to go take a sheet. Very embarrassing, and I made sure to have cash with me in the future. I'm Canadian and I travel to the US every couple of weeks. I'm always blown away by how incredibly nice and friendly Americans are. Don't let the news fool you. It makes you think everything is on fire and everyone is in a political party. This is absolutely not true for all, and you'll mostly find really nice and warm people. 24/7 political news. That there forever seems to be a big election coming up. Canadian news, by comparison, is so quiet. Yes, there is political news, but there is a limitation on how far in advance of the election that parties can actually campaign. It's about 2 months if I remember correctly. So, for 2 months, everyone focuses hard on federal politics plus the media, have an election, and then the country mostly chills out again. The American political system on the other hand seems committed to inducing long-term anxiety disorders.